As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's This Day in History.
As we count down to America's 250th birthday this summer, we are sharing our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. What do we got today, Charlie?
Today, February 19th, 1942, the 100th Fighter Squadron was activated in the 332 Fighter Group. You better know them as the Tuskegee Airmen. The group of primarily African-American military pilots and airmen fought in World War II. Although the military remained racially segregated during World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen broke racial barriers as Black Americans were not allowed to become U.S. military pilots before 1941. They served with distinction in combat and contributed to the eventual integration of the U.S. Armed Services, with the Air Force leading the way. The commemorative Air Force Red Tail Squadron is a traveling exhibit about the history of the nation's first Black military pilots. The exhibit, along with a restored military plane, will be at this summer's EAA Air Venture in Oshkosh. That's This Day in History, February 19th.
Yeah, I love World War II history, especially something like this where these men, you know, defending a country that was still discriminating against them, even in their own military.
Right.
We're still defending the country and fighting with courage and bravery. It's just a crazy story, a special kind of person.
And during that time period and many years after, didn't get any recognition for it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, thank you for that.